Alright everyone, quick update. Travis Mower's gone wild, working on the subscriber build. Let's take a look. We got the hubs in. So, GoPowersports.com sent us this. It's not even supposed to come with bearings, but they did. They sent me some 5/8 bearings. I thank them for that. Unfortunately, it's not the size I need, but we'll be able to repurpose them. So here's one on. I went ahead and I already changed it. You just take out these little snap rings each side, hammer out the bearing. Now I got the 3/4 bearing to get on there. Well, already on there. And then I got it all the way on. So with that, I'm going to make, just probably put a few washers or something in there. Be able to put the C-clip, everything else. So it'll be able to be just like it was when it was stock. Use the stock spindles, everything else. These rims, these were on Predator. They are a 110 spacing. Well, them hubs are 4x4. I knew that buying it. I was hoping I can get lucky and just drill the holes out a little bit and put some washers in it, something else. I'm gonna lose all of my insides. So we came up with an idea, talking to Matt and everything. So let me show you. So the idea is I'm gonna take this washer here. This is gonna get welded right inside, almost the same thickness, same everything, and welded all the way around on both sides for strength. And then I'm just gonna drill new holes in the middle of the other holes. It will probably end up being a little bit on the washer itself, which is just fine. And then I'm gonna even add a washer around that and weld that on for extra strength, just to make sure that this stays the way it needs to stay. And I'm sure you're asking, what is going on here? Well, if you are at all familiar with my Predator build from the early days, when I changed out and put these big tires on the front of it, we actually welded the original rim inside this and mounted it to the three lug hub that I had on that. Well, it ended up breaking it. It bent everything. It didn't hold up. And then we went to the 4 lug hub for that, and that was the right size of the 110 millimeter and everything else. But now we're back onto the wheel horse. That is a 4x4 hub. Very clean, really like it. Again, GoPowersports.com hooked us up big time. I'm just giving them a shout out. Unfortunately, they did not give them to me for free, but I'm more than happy to give them a shout out. So if you're looking to try to make any sort of change, go from an ATV rem for your front, go right to them. They're very affordable, fast at shipping, and just make sure you know exactly what bearings and everything else you need. I end up actually ordering a 10-pack online of them bearings. They're, again, really easy. I can change them out, everything else. They're already filled with grease, the sealed bearings themselves. I got the 85-inch belt. So I did watch the Charlie Horse video, and I learned a lot on the pulley structure that he uses and the way he runs the clutch and guards and everything else. I'm going to run this stock. I just want to know what it's like and then figure out what changes I want to make. I already bought this belt, already had it before I watched it. I already bought some of the iterations that he's done and changed, so that way if I want to make them changes, I will. Thinking about doing some sort of exhaust style the way he did. I'm just giving him that shout out just based on the fact that it was a really educational video. He obviously has one heck of a wheel horse, and I'd love this to even be close to it, you know, when it comes to just the performance levels. So different motor, different model, but again, a lot of the same things going through and through with them, same transmission, everything else. So we'll see what this thing turns out to be. I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you guys are learning something. If you're ever going to build a wheel horse, you kind of have a step-by-step how I did it, and you can take some of whatever you want out of how it's going, and we'll see exactly how it performs and keep you guys in the loop. All right, everyone, I just kind of want to go over exactly where I'm at this point. It's Travis Mower's Gone Wild, the subscriber build, which is dubbed now the Wild Horse. So we have the 670 in, the belt's on, the clutch is technically working, the wheels are on. These still need to be tacked in place and welded on, as I had to customize all the rims, which you should have seen to this point. Let's see here. So more or less all the electrical's now done, everything that would make this thing start. Transmission should be good to go, other than I'd need to still put oil and everything else in it. Motor's actually hooked up to where it could fire if the battery was in it, as long as there was gas. I took the plunger out for the fuel shut off, so that no longer works, so I don't have to worry about that. This is going to be getting changed out anyways when I go to the single carb, but for the more or less testing, tuning, and figuring this thing out. That's what's staying until I get some extra funds, more or less, to purchase that, 'cause it's a over $400 purchase by the time I get the filter cover and everything else again to do it right. Same thing, the stock exhaust is just going to go on for now, which it's going to get a custom exhaust, but that's just going to be what's going to go in place just to allow me to start running this thing and really kind of fine tune it and then build it better throughout the year. But here's where we stand today. So this tire is on as well, but when I turn this wheel, you can already kind of probably see the issue is that is just touching right here. So there's quite a bit of room here. I'm actually going to unbolt this motor. I'm going to slide it back, and I'm going to see if that makes this all better. And then what I'll do if that fixes it is I will just make 2 new rails. I'm just going to leave them ones there, build 2 new rails for where the motor needs to be, bolt it there. That will actually allow me to probably use that belt that I already have, as I feel that one's already a little too tight, and be able to still make some tensioners and everything else for the belt and do some clutch changes. But she's coming together. Just again, a few things I kind of, you can almost say, overlooked. I just didn't predict with the 22s. Now that I got the hubs and everything else on there, it looks really good. Really happy with it. I definitely don't want to offset off any farther to put any more weight on the spindle. That's about where stock weight and everything would be, so I think they're going to hold up well. I know I can go to a swept front end, but then that's going to lift the front end up higher. I really don't want this to be out any farther, because again, if I put the wheels in, we're almost directly in line with the back, and I don't want the front to be out wider than the back. So again, I'm really digging the look. I just need to move the engine back a little bit, and I think I can get the clearance I need. But again, like always, really appreciate you guys following along. Give this video a like, give it a comment. Can't say it enough. Always go out and support our other people that come out here, like Postal Redneck, Redneck Tractors, you know, Balls Deep Mud Mowers. Them guys are absolutely awesome. Sorry if I'm missing anyone, but them are the 3 that come to mind right this second. And let's stay tuned. Let's see what else we can do to this thing, and let's see what happens when this motor gets moved back, of how much clearance we get. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get this motor unbolted. It'll be a quick time lapse of me just getting everything undone and being able to scooch this thing back and see what kind of clearance we have, and hopefully have enough clearance to where we don't need to make any other adjustments. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. Okay, so what I wanted to see is I got the motor moved back. Definitely going to have to do something with this field line. But I got everything still in line. I got this thing squished all the way back. The clutch pedal will still go down. I might need to take this stud off and take this stud off, but regardless, there's clearance, and I know when this rises up that it could barely possibly hit that. But again, I could eliminate that post altogether. Same with that one. I still have these 2. Worst case, actually, I could probably just shave that one down a little bit, and I don't think that one's going to be much of an issue anyways. So, but that pretty much gets everything right where I want it. And again, it's not every day I'm going to be turning these wheels completely all the way and have this side up. But when I do, I want to make sure I have the clearance. Another thing I can do is I can put a little bit of a limiter on this to make sure, because as of like right now, I'd be fine being able to turn at full till there. So that's turned all the way, and again, I would barely clear, but it would clear. So that's the progress I'm making. So the motor's just going to move back. I don't see any sort of negative effect of doing that. It's the one way I can think without making, again, other changes, changing tires, things of that nature. I want to run these tires. I want bigger tires in the front. I want clearance. I already own them. I love the look of it, so them are going to stay. The motor just needs some new mounts, get that mounted back in place, and should be able to just start getting this thing back up to where I was, since I dodged a bullet there and got by that. Just need to make a couple modifications to that. Might need to drop a belt size, or with some of the ideas I was thinking about doing with the clutch, I can probably do now, since I should have the slack in the belt. So let's stay tuned. Let's see what keeps coming to this thing. So again, this is the Wild Horse. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. We appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, so I got the motor back. I did a more or less a try and intrude way of putting this against the back pulley to this pulley, make sure that everything's in line. Everything's going to be able to stay the same way. So I took measurements of what my old mounts were. I'm going to cut 2 of them up, get them cut, get the holes lined up, get them welded to the rails, and get this motor back in place. Alright, don't mind the silly faces. Let's get these cut up real quick, and that way we can go ahead and get them mounted on that mower and welded up. Alright, now that we got everything all cut, let's take a look at where they are going to be placed. Again, I'm going to leave the 2 old ones there, as it's just going to help support the frame there anyways, and that way if I ever want to move the motor, change any front axles or anything, I have different placements for the motor ready to go. So I already marked the sides of the frame, kind of hard to see in the shot, but there we go. It's about exactly what we're going to see. Now I just need to get everything welded exactly in place, and then also get the holes drilled and get that motor back in here. So once that motor gets back in here, we can start working on that clutch and more or less start getting this thing ready to go and get it fired back up before we know it for the first time ever on this wild horse, and see what this thing will do. So thank you guys. Alright everyone, we're almost done with the end of this video. I hope you guys are enjoying this part 4. I think we have made a lot of progress, as them wheel hubs and them wheels have really turned out awesome. It's bringing this whole look together and just getting us one step closer being able to get this thing going, as I know a lot of things have happened on this build, as once we take one step forward, we're taking another 1 or 2 steps back. But now that this motor is going to be in the final placement for so far the way it's going to be, I can work on getting that clutch figured out, figure out getting the belt with that is what size I'm going to run, and then get the foot throttle done, get the running board back on, battery back in there, the electrical bolted back in there, as that panel luckily just unbolts and bolts in, so I didn't have to actually disconnect all that electrical work that I already did to this thing. Get a front bumper made. I have some really cool ideas, kind of like a Jeep rock crawler style front bumper off the front. That'll be nice and narrow to build, to just kind of go with that wheel horse frame and look. I got some pretty cool ideas in my mind. Me and Mike and Matt were all kind of talking about it, just what would look cool, and we all kind of thought that would be one of the best looks. With that, and you can see I'm getting all the welding finished up. I'm really proud of myself, as this is my first time ever doing every piece of welding and work on this with just some input from everyone along the way. Ed is also a huge help, is that he had the better welder to get that rear end done. Postal Redneck getting the graphic design. Matt more or less giving me this mower to be able to build this with just some trades of just different things around the farm to let me be able to build this. So really appreciate him big time for letting me build this. He's the whole reason I'm even able to be doing what I'm doing. So there's everything all welded up. This is going to be the end of part 4, and hopefully in that next one, maybe we'll be able to hit that button and get this thing started. So stay tuned, and there's the holes ready to go for that front bumper mounts that will be next. So I hope you guys are enjoying. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and see you guys next week.